Hi everybody, welcome to CADiologist. This exercise is about drawing a stainless steel undercut bolt with the accessories, a steel plate, round washer, and nut. This kind of bolt is used in exterior facade cladding along with the stone support. The exercises presented to you in this channel should help you guys to improve your drawing skills and to become more familiar with AutoCAD commands, their functions and locations on the interface. If you have doubts about the use of any tool, you could always go back to the previous tutorials, specifically tutorials 1 to 6, to learn more about it. And to make it easy for you guys, you could always use the timestamps in each video's description to skip around to the part you wish to review. Now, do your best to watch until the end so you don't miss on the important details, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and ring that notification bell to stay updated. As I just told you, in this video we will draw and dimension together undercut bolt with the accessories. When you open AutoCAD, click on Start Drawing from the interface. If the grid is activated, turn it off from the status bar or use F7 key to turn it off and on. Type units in the command line and make sure drawing units type is decimal, precision is 0.000, dry units is millimeter. Type LA to open Layer Properties Manager and create a layer named Fasteners. Create another layer for dimensioning and another layer for text. Change the dimension and text layer color to gray number 8 and line weight to 0.00. Double-click the Fasteners layer to set it as the current layer, then close Layer Properties Manager. Make sure Ortho Mode and Dynamic Input are activated. Click on this little arrow of OSNAP and check Endpoint, Midpoint, Center, Geometric Center, Intersection, and Perpendicular modes. Before you start drawing, be sure to save the file and keep doing that from time to time to avoid losing your drawing and effort by mistake. If you are saving for the first time, click on Save from the Quick Access toolbar, choose the file location, and type the name. Then click on Save. Click on the Application button, click on Options, go to Open and Save tab. In the File Safety Precautions, make sure Automatic Save is checked and at every 10 minutes. Moreover, you can click on Ctrl+S to save your progress anytime you want. Draw a 40 by 40 mm square plate. Draw a circle of 8.5 mm in diameter in the middle, representing a hole in the blade for the bolt. I will draw a section in the middle of the plate and show the thickness, which is 2 mm. Draw a vertical X line at the center point mark and move it left 4.25 mm, then copy it right 8.5 mm. Activate Boundary Creation command from Draw panel, click an internal point somewhere here, and click space to end the command. Then delete the X lines. Click Ctrl+1 to open Properties palette. Type LT in the command line and hit space. In the Line Type Manager, click on Load, scroll down until you find Center, and click on OK. Repeat the same steps to add hidden line type and dashed. Then click OK. Now, window select this rectangle and go to Properties palette. Change the color to gray number 8, line type to hidden, and scale to 0.1. Draw a 15 by 6 mm rectangle representing the section of a bolt nut. Draw another rectangle from this midpoint mark to this endpoint mark and move it to the middle. Type BO to activate boundary creation and pick the internal point somewhere here. Then move this rectangle downward a distance of 10 mm. Activate chamfer command from Modify panel. Select distance and specify the first chamfer distance 1.5 mm and the second chamfer distance 0.5 mm. Type M for multiple and select all corners in this way. Activate circle command and use the 3P option. Specify the first point at this endpoint mark, the second point at this endpoint mark, and the third point at this midpoint mark. Mirror the circle around this middle horizontal path. Draw a temporary vertical X-line at this mark and this mark. Then delete this part. Activate boundary creation and pick an internal point somewhere here. Delete all X-lines and circles and move back this object upward 10 mm. Mirror it to the opposite side around this geometric center point and delete this rectangle. Copy this object right from here to here. Cross-select this part and activate stretch command through the shortcut STR. Specify base point at this midpoint mark and stretch it to this midpoint mark. Activate chamfer through the shortcut CHA. Type D for distance. Specify the first chamfer distance 0.9 mm and the second chamfer distance 0.5 mm. Type M for multiple and follow me selecting the corners. Draw a 16 by 1 mm rectangle representing the section of a steel washer. Move it to this midpoint mark and draw an 8.5 by 1 mm rectangle in the middle. Type MA to activate Match Properties command. Select this rectangle as the source object and this rectangle as the destination object. End the command with the space button. Now I want to draw a top view for the nut and washer. Draw two vertical X lines along the nut width. Activate Polygon tool from the Draw panel. Type 6 for number of polygon sides. Specify center of polygon 20 mm from this mark. Select the option Circumscribed About Circle. Move the cursor upward and type 6.5 mm for the radius. Zoom into this corner. Select the polygon and adjust this vertex to be on the line. Do the same on the opposite side. Draw a circle from this geometric center point to this midpoint mark. Repeat circle command from the same point and specify the radius 4 mm. Then offset it 4 mm outward for the washer. Draw a 13 by 11 mm rectangle at 30 mm away from the plate. Draw another rectangle 14 by 2 mm and place it in the middle. Draw one more rectangle 24 by 8 mm and move it to this midpoint mark. Draw a small rectangle from this midpoint mark 8 by 1.25 mm. Draw a horizontal X line on this side and move it downward 0.6 mm. Then mirror it to the opposite side. Select this rectangle and trim the X lines. Alright, activate Polyline command through the shortcut PL. Draw this V shape here and here. Then delete this line and this line. Activate boundary creation and pick an internal point somewhere here. Move this object 10 mm left and delete this part. Select this shape again and activate rotate command through the shortcut RO. Snap the geometric center point and type 5 degrees for the rotation angle. Now adjust the edges. Then select the object and activate Array command from the Modify panel. Change number of rows to 1 and number of columns to 18. Change the spacing between columns to 1.255 and click on Close Array. Move the array from this point to this point. Then activate Circle command. Select the TTR option in the command line. Specify the first point tangent to this rectangle and the second point tangent to this rectangle. Type 1 mm for the radius. Mirror this circle to the opposite side and activate Trim tool from Modify panel. If you click on space, AutoCAD will assume all objects in the drawing area selected. Then follow me trimming the parts we don't want. Activate boundary creation and pick an internal point somewhere here. Then delete all the parts we don't want. Trace the bolt head using polyline command. Make an offset of 0.5 mm outward and delete that source. Draw a circle at this midpoint mark of 1 mm radius and move it 0.5 mm in this direction. Use the TTR option of Circle command. Specify the first point tangent to this circle and the second point tangent to this line. Type 5 mm for the radius. Use the Trim command to get rid of all the parts we don't want. Delete this part and mirror this part to the opposite side. Then connect them together. Select these segments and type J to join them all into one. Offset this shape 1 mm in this direction. Draw a line here and here to close the shape. Then select it and type J again for join. Activate Polyline command. Place the cursor over this mark and move it slowly left. You should see a vertical path if object snap tracking is on. Type 10 to specify the starting point and draw a 55 mm line. Select the line and go to Properties palette. Change the color to blue, line type to center, and scale to 0.1. Select the undercut bolt, the steel blade, the nut and washer, then do a copy of 80 mm right. Select the steel plate and activate Align tool from Modify panel. Specify the first source point at this midpoint mark and the first destination point at this midpoint mark. Specify the second source point at this endpoint mark and the second destination point at this endpoint mark. Then click on space twice to end the command. Repeat align command through the shortcut AL for the steel washer and nut in the same manner. Window select the steel washer and nut and move them 5 mm in this direction. Select the thread array and explode it through the shortcut X. Then activate the trim command and follow me trimming parts of the bolt thread. Delete all parts intersecting with the bolt accessories. Now activate Hatch tool from the draw panel, check the solid pattern, change color to gray number 9, and increase the transparency to 50. Make sure Select Objects option is selected. Then window select the plate and click on space. Click space again to repeat the command and hatch all the bolt accessories. For the nut and washer top view, you might have to switch to pick internal point option while doing the hatch. Activate Hatch command again through the shortcut HA. Change the pattern to gradient cylinder, change the color to white or black, and this one to gray number 8. And make sure Select Objects option is selected. Then window select the undercut bolt. Click on space to repeat the command and window select this assembly. Some parts might not be hatched. In this case, click on pick internal point and start selecting these parts separately. Apply match properties of this hatch to this hatch. Alright, select this assembly and click on Create from Block panel. Type the block name M8 Undercut Bolt. Click on Pick Point and specify the insertion base point at this mark, then click on OK. Dimensioning. Go to Properties palette and change the layer to Dim for dimensioning. Type D and hit space to open Dimension Style Manager. Click on New and type Dim 01. Then continue. In the Lines tab, make sure baseline spacing is 3.75, extend beyond dimension line 1.25, offset from original 0.5. In the Symbols and Arrows tab, change arrowhead to dot small, change arrow size to 1.5. Make sure dimension brick size is 3.75. And go to Text tab. Change text height to 1.5. In the text placement field, make sure vertical is set to above and horizontal is set to centered. Change offset from dimension line to 1. In the text alignment field, check aligned with dimension line. In the Fit tab, make sure the overall scale is selected and the value is 1. In the primary units, set the precision of linear dimensions to 0.0 and angular dimension to 0. Then click on OK. Go to Annotate tab and click on Linear to dimension the steel blade. Use Dimension Continue command through the shortcut DIMC whenever you want to carry on dimensioning the same side. choose diameter from the list and dimension the circle. Activate linear dimension again through the shortcut DLI and measure both the steel washer and nut. Type DIMD to start diameter dimension command and measure this circle and this circle. Repeat the dimension commands we used so far to dimension the undercut bolt. Choose radius from the list and dimension this arc and this arc. Go to Properties palette and change the layer to text. Click on this little arrow of the text panel. Create a new text style and name it Tempus Sans ITC. Change the font name to Tempus Sans ITC. Click on Set Current, Yes, and Close. Click on Multi-line Text, specify the first corner here and the opposite corner here. Click on Justification and choose Middle Left. Change text height to 1.5 and type steel plate. Repeat the text command through the shortcut MT and type the name of the other components. Now we need to prepare the sheet to print the drawing. Go to Layout Sheet, select the existing viewport and delete it. Right-click Layout 1 and rename it to Exercise 13. Right-click Exercise 13 and go to Page Setup Manager, where we can set the sheet size, orientation, quality, and many other things. Click on Modify, change the printer name to DWG to PDF. Make sure the paper size ISO full bleed A4 is selected. Check scale line weights and blood transparency. And make sure landscape orientation is selected. Then click on OK and close. Type viewport and hit space. Choose 4 equal and click OK. The command line is asking to specify the first corner, or just click on space for fit. If you go to Layer Properties Manager, you could see a layer created automatically and named Div Points. It was generated when the first dimension was created in the drawing. This layer is unprintable and stores information about definition points of dimensions. It's usually used for the viewports and for any detail in the drawing you don't want to print. So, select the viewport and go to Properties, then change the layer to Div Points. Now, to print the drawing, we need to insert the title block we created together in Tutorial 8 of this course. Remember, title block is a template for the sheet we want to print, and it includes important information to identify the drawing. So I will open exercise 1 that we did in Tutorial 8 and copy the title block from there. Select the title block and its content. Type CO and select Copy Base. Specify the base point as mentioned in the command line. Click on this mark and go to exercise 13. Click on Ctrl+V for paste command and place the title block at this endpoint mark. Select the viewports and adjust the boundaries to be inside the title block. Click on Scale from the status bar and check 2:1. Double-click inside this viewport, then click and hold the mouse scroll wheel to adjust the drawing location. If the scale is changed while moving, you could simply adjust it back as we did before. Click on the lock sign to lock the viewport and prevent any changes for the scale. The viewport is small for the steel plate. In this case, we need to adjust each viewport size to cover the contained object. Follow me moving and sizing the viewports for better appearance of the sheet. Go to Properties palette and change the layer to 0. Draw rectangles over all the viewports. Select one of the rectangle, right-click with the mouse anywhere, and choose Select Similar from the list. Go to Properties palette again and change the color to gray number 9. Line type to dashed and scale to 0.1. If the title block includes a logo and for some reason the logo disappears when you copy the title block from one drawing to another, we can help AutoCAD to locate the logo and resolve this issue by using the xref command. This is my logo and the status shows that it's not found. Click it twice, locate your logo, and click on Open. Change the drawing title to Tutorial 20-Exercise 13. Change the scale to 2:1. Change the date and the drawing number to YT-CAD-TT20-EX-013. Click on Ctrl+P to open plot setting. If this window pops up, just click on Escape button. Click on Preview to check out the drawing before making the printout. Click on Print, choose a folder, type the file name, and click on Save. Today's tutorial involved creating a block where you can combine several components together into one assembly. You practiced in this exercise many commands such as boundary creation, align, match properties, array, block creation, copy base, and other tools. If you want to know more in detail about those commands, I advise you to watch tutorials 1 to 6 of this course. Keep practicing AutoCAD even if you repeat the same exercise several times in order to enhance your drawing skills. And don't let this video end without subscribing to the channel and ring that notification bell to receive more exercises to practice.